So picking up on NH, right?
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood Crip. How did you guys come to that conclusion, or what push y'all towards that?
That would have to be more directed to Bubs, because I'm still in between.
Let me slide over here.
I'm still in between running with the Tanners, and being in the hood sometimes and running with the Tanners sometimes. Bubs and them at that particular time, if I'm not mistaken, Bubs moved in with the Martins. And
right after that.
How long ago after?
Well, what it was.
Hold on. Shout out to the Martins. Shout out to Scruncho. Rest in peace, Richard.
Fred.
Bubbles
just got out. Yeah.
Yeah, he just got out?
Yeah.
Oh, man, welcome home, Bubbles.
Yeah, Bubbles just did 30 years almost.
Man, and my boy Prator.
Yeah.
Okay, go take it from there. Take it there.
Pest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Take it
he
from there.
He just got married. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations to Prator.
Yeah. The hood started basically almost like Pan-A's. It was a group of us that would hang up at Kelly Park and all that. So I think they didn't do certain things at Kelly Park. So we started having picnics. Miss Martin.
Yeah.
She would collect all the funds.
Sure would.
And this was about 75, you know, like right after I got out of camp.
Right.
And she would collect the funds. We would go get all our picnic stuff, the drums and stuff, and go up to Coolidge Park. Coolidge Park was kind of our park. Yeah. That was like in Hood Park, in Coolidge Park in Long.
Right over there in Old Hood.
Right. You know,
yeah, I remember
wasn't
my
no
boy.
Old Hood then, though.
I remember my boy Kevin Thompson lived over there, and I used to go to his house. He'd take me up to Coolidge Park.
Right. That was our little hideout. So we started just having a group of people that we was planning on going to legs, you know, just the lakes or whatever. And then after that, like I said, this kind of this Crip thing was fluctuating, and we were already Pan-A's family Crips. You know what I'm saying? I was already labeled a Crip anyway. You know, but we didn't want Miss Martin and them. So I would take it with me, Chubb, Lamb, Big Sherm. This is the big hood, you know. And it's funny because little Percy from the big hood.
Yeah.
And he was younger, and everybody said, how he be, you know.
Yeah,
he was. Big hood, but it wasn't no other hood when Percy came on. You know what I'm saying? He was like 8 or 9.
Shout out to Chubb, man, because if I don't do that, I ain't going to hit it in.
You ain't lying.
Shout out to Chubb and my boy Johnny.
You know.
Johnny Buzz.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we started, somebody somewhere stole a truck and it was full of spray paint. Mm-hmm. So we just started writing neighborhood Compton Crips. We was going to be criminal block, you know, because the people was criminal weed. Yeah. We was going to be loony block or something. Just somebody was just saying, yeah, we just going to be neighborhood. So we just started saying neighborhood, but we put Crip on the end. So when we put Crip on this, you know, it was like, we can't do that because Miss Martin and Mr. Martin and them is kind of like the head of this. We got, you know, so we separated kind of to the point to where we stopped going to the group things and just started banging, really. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us was Crips anyway.
Yeah.
You know, from Pan-A's or whatever.
Yeah, because like I said, I was over there with the 10.
And this was the thing, because we was throwing up, we wasn't 100% familiar with LA. Yeah. So we was throwing the hood sign up like this.
That's a Brim sign.
Yeah. That's how we did it.
Let me check this out. This is how one of my homies get killed, Pee Wee, criminal weed, because when he moved in to the Imperial Courts, and he did this, he was throwing up in hood and Watts and stuff. They look at that as being a Brim. So some of them dudes got at, somebody killed him over there behind that. Yeah. So as I was in and out of jail, you know, in camps quite often, I had went and some East Coast. Was it Big John and them from East Coast? And some other dudes, the Boo.
Gangster John?
Yeah.
No, Big John.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, swole.
Yeah. And all them, there was like, it's 2 fingers in the thumb.
Right.
Because the 60s, all of them, the LA, I said, well, since Crip come from LA, when I got out of jail, I started telling the homies, hey, it's 2 fingers in the thumb. Now, all of them may not have started it, but I know I was the first one over that was doing 2 fingers in the thumb.
So you guys had to self-correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because them Brims was like, they was one of the first, I would say, oppositions, because I don't know if they said blood or not at that time, but they were Brims. That was one of the first gangs in LA we ever heard of.
Sure was.
You know what I'm saying? Because the first Crip I ever seen was over Eric Malone in them house. Durrell.
Yeah, Kenny and them.
Yeah, Malone.
Kenny and Durrell.
Yeah, that was their cousin.
Yep.
Yeah, and they came over there with Ace Deuces on. This had to be 73,
yeah,
72.
It was.
Wasn't that a nostalgic time back then when we wore the Ace Deuces with the matches?
That's why I've never seen it.
And
the
left
long
ear,
the one glove with the waistline.
And
and overalls. With
And overalls.
with the top flipped down.
Or the painter pants and all
I'm
that.
gonna tell you something though, Melvin. And this goes back to the Dominguez thing. You know, the Compton lifestyle can turn on a dime at any second. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You remember I told you I got the Dragons? Got a couple of y'all up there, but you know we're fish out of water. But you remember the next year when Bubs came up there?
Game changer.
And remember when Bubs did that shooting? And you remember my house got shot up that night? The whole thing. I don't care who know now. I don't care. I ain't tucking in my blue rag now. I don't care.
It's over with.
It's over with. Now, of course, that's when the whole sea change happened. That's when half-stepping them. That was the birth of Ducky. Because right after that happened, everybody had to choose a side.
Everybody had to choose a side. Everybody
Everybody
stepped
had
out
to,
for
there wasn't all the wishy-washy was gone. Either you on this side or you on that.
Let me interject this though. What really I don't know if I'm giving him too much credit, but I gotta give him credit. It's Tino, because Tino came up there with that blue rag and didn't put it away for nobody for nothing
At the assemblies.
at the assemblies.
Yeah.
With a whole stand.
So, and shout
you
out
had
to
to get a
Tino
whippy
from
to-
Atlanta.
Yeah. Every last one of them.
And they were known for the three brothers. It
Right.
was Jody, Tino, and Mario.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they pushed the line.
And what was the other cat used to be
Yeah.
with him? What's his name? Pierre.
Yeah, Pierre, Tip Top.
Yeah.
Tyrone. Yep.
Rick
Rock.
Yeah, you got
Fish.
them guys. They push the line.
Rick Rock, Fish, Blue.
Yeah.
Ronald Fisher.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. When them Atlantics came out,
But
Dutchman and all them.
that was the change.
Smokey, Terrence McCrae and them.
That's
Scott.
when
Old Pappy.
Yeah. Old Pappy.
That's
He just
when-
rested in peace
Featherstone.
on her.
that's
Yeah.
when
Oh, yeah.
everything got
Killer Mike.
Well, see, this is the thing, though. You know, because I speak, and I always want to reiterate this when I get on any camera, that we have to do better as far as doing harm to each other. We have to learn to get along and basically change the narrative that we're not enemies. But at that time, just like DuPont, I talked to him on certain occasions, like on Facebook or whatever, and he used to always say sometimes, like, Prator, just think we all was together, red and blue. That was just been a Compton.
That would have been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
But we got a little taste of it.
Yeah, well, we seen it.
Yeah, we got a little
seen it
taste of
early
it.
on, yeah.
Yeah, we got a
When
little
we
taste
all
of it.
got along. We seen it.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, but at the same time, I don't want to kind of glamorize the violence against each other because we know that it's changed now. But at a certain point, like I said, when you had certain Crips that were, like I said, the Crips, because Tick was the one that told me, because I was on the borderline.
Yeah.
Because we were so tight with
Everybody,
everybody.
everybody was on the borderline.
Yeah.
Well, so when you say you was on the borderline, what does that mean?
I'm going to explain it to you.
I'm getting ready to be
Let me
Paul Root.
explain it to you.
Explain it then.
Okay, borderline is, let me see, I'd have to go back to, I would say 72. 72. Mind you, I told you that my side of town was red before.
Right.
Mind you, I told you there's a bunch of people that we know is like EB and Turtle and all that.
Yeah.
The people that we know, just like I know you, that are on the other side. Now, if not for slip-ups, I won't get into the technicalities of the slip-up, but if not for slip-ups, that whole side might have stayed red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when this is happening, you're a person that's me and his age. You got a decision to make. And there is no, I can't choose one of, because I will never forget what that pull felt like. Because you got to understand, you know what a societal norm is? A societal norm is when you got a whole bunch of people, and because you have that many group, they act a certain way because that many people are like that. The societal norm in Compton at that time, and the pull was so great to do one or the other, was a hell of a pull. I've actually sat up and thought about which way am I going to go. Because the way you look at it, to be in Compton, that's the only, you're going to have to choose one.
Right.
And I remember I remember to myself, the thing that tipped the scale with me was I got to know Charles Newsom.
Charlie knew.
Now, Charles Newsom is what tipped the scale with me. Now, Bubs and them, they still got to make these choices. Charles Newsom tipped the scale with me because I was fascinated by him. Then I got to know his brothers and everything. So that tipped the scale. I was going to be blue. Now, I know Bubs and them, they ain't made up no all the way decisions yet. Until, and I believe this is what changed it. I remember when Charles Newsom came to tell me a tip. I wouldn't even tip there. Just leave. After Charles Newsom and Terrell called, just leave. Leave. The Crips are coming up to Roosevelt today. I'll never forget that. Now, when he told me that, I went and told my brothers. I said, look, Crips coming up here today. From that point is when I think y'all got swayed.
That was one of them.
Okay.
And when Dean got shot.
When Dean got shot.
When Dean got shot by some power rules.
Yeah.
Dean never gang bang. He never.
Lowrider.
Yeah, lowrider.
On Pan
Yeah.
That made your mind up.
That pushed me, and it was funny because the U.S. was pushing a line on me at that time. Remember Gary said, but and I keep telling people I was like, I couldn't have been no more than 12, 13.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember.
And these guys were older. Gary Shepard them had to be what, 19, 20, 18?
Up there.
Yeah, they were older guys. I know Puddin was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was more like these guys, because I had to get my brother Dean to go up there to get
Gary Shepard.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Right quick.
I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? And Tick told me, he said, Bubs, the Crips are coming up here today. So I'm like, I'm not knowing that it's that many Crips, you know. and not only that, some of them we knew from school, Joe, the Big Joe and all them.
Yeah.
You know, that's what, but let me just say the protocol on that. Because before that amount of people had to do anything, they had to meet up first somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that a little later, but I've never seen that many Crips, except for at the Coliseum when we went to the Funk
that was
Festival.
much later.
Yeah, that was much later. But at one time, when they came to Roosevelt, it had to be about 500 of them.
Yeah.
It had to be about 500 of them because they couldn't even fit through the gate. Remember the gate by the music shop? Right across, on Poinsettia, right there across from the campus.
I remember.
They couldn't get through. It was so many of them, they couldn't even fit through that gate. They had to hop over the gate. You know, that's a double gate where big trucks come.
Tons of them.
And I remember Ed Gwynn.
Yeah, they took off.
And Ronnie Wilton and all that.
Yeah, they took off.
They like this.
Yeah, because you still have little traces of Pan Am's Paru there.
Yeah.
You still have little traces of blood on that side.
I see Ed jump through a window of a car and get on. They flee like they were like, whoa, they were like, Bubs, where they at? Because Charlie Newman was in the front.
Yeah.
Because they kept pressuring me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, there they go. But they were gone. They were running. But even then, after that, the power rules were more structured because that's why they could move the way they moved. They basically had like lieutenants and generals and stuff like that. I don't know if they called them that at that time, but they were still strategically when they caught that bus.
Because their overall plan was to beat the whole Compton and beat Paru.
Yeah.
But what happened was that the Roy Tuckers, the Zanes, Felton, and Willie Hurd, and all those guys, and Baby James, all those guys on that side of the east side, which can be considered, you can really say Compton, L.A. You know, they can't, but they're so close, so they're really in close relationship with those, and then the Mona Parks, and then the fact that Tookie wound up in Oaks Park at the Red House with Donald Duck Norwood, because they was all in fact the Brooklyns. Right. And then there's one more caveat, is they had two big meetings, one in Ludus Park and one at Oaks Park. The one at Ludus Park was when Black Johnny, rest in peace Black Johnny. Black Johnny brought a gang of Crips up there. They actually sat down and would talk.
In Ludus.
And Baba Louie, you could go back to Baba Louie's reference and he'll talk about that.
At one time, and this was short-lived, that would have been Paru Crip. Because the Crips was just a thing that came from LA with Bob Simmons and when Tookie and Bob Simmons and Batman and all them had the boys home. They put the boys home on Atlantic Drive in Santa Fe and Pine.
I remember that.
That's when the Crips really was, they was housed coming from Youth Authority and Juvenile Hall, and they housed them, and it was the only Crips that came to Compton. And that's when you start seeing the ship. That's how Atlantic Drive was born. when Bob Simmons moved on the drive.
You know what though? After all the years of going through this, especially that's why I always love going back to the Dominguez reunions. The one thing that I'd always had to give those Bloods credit for, they were outnumbered big time, especially when we got our legs up under us. Like, remember I said that. Especially after Atlantic. Now, you remember at this time, from Atlantic all the way down, all them Crips over there, not only are tons of them, they all got along.
And was ready to go.
Yeah. And
case in point, Compton Parade.
Yeah. Yeah.
1974, 1975.
For them to hold on to their spot like that.
Yeah.
It took a lot of guts, because Lord knows.
But it goes back to us knowing familiar with each other too.
Yeah.
Because there's times where they would just come up to me and like, since they knew me.
Yeah.
Elliot Phillips and them. You know, we all went to.
They would always say Blood too, though.
Yeah. Prator Blood.
Hey, Prator Blood, check this out.
Stanley Pitts.
They would always
Stanley Pitts and them. Oh, they never backed down.
No.
They never. If people could say, you got to give credit where credit's due. That's why DuPont used to say, just Prator, just think, and we all was together. Well, we'd have been the fourth of mob.
Shout out to DuPont.
You know. So, the thing is that they had so much heart with it.
Yeah.
Because they come see you.
And just like I seen one of your interviews. I think they talked to Cynthia, and the subject came up talking about Puddin giving passes. And remember, I'm there all through this, and I'm saying to myself, because knowing how it was at that time, how are you gonna say he giving passes? Because as soon as Puddin showed up, you didn't stick around long enough to find out.
No.
As soon as you seen that particular car, and what I would say captains and up, to where you got the Ickies and the Puddins and the old Deesman too, old white boy Deesman used to run with him back in the day. When you got all these cats, Fire and Blue George and all them, you know when they show up, they didn't show up just to show up. So nobody who's hanging around talking about getting passes and none of that shit.
And think about it. Lug and Jug lived on Willow.
Yeah.
Lil George lived on Chester. Lil Raymond lived on Pearl. Bartender and Malcolm lived on Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Washington and Bill and Dwayne, they all lived on Pearl as well.
And Tony told them, and Turtle and them stayed
on
Thorson.
And I'm saying, they were there. There was, and then my homie Prescott and all them, they were actually Pyrus. They turned because of
well, like I said,
Duck and all that.
That happened. They're not isolated. It's a few that turn.
Right.
And like I said, you can't fault nobody for whatever they turn.
No, because that's just how it was.
And that's why you know, when I look at it, and like Tick and I, and you too, Melly, we've seen pregame.
Yeah.
We've seen where you can get up and I can go ride my bike in the riverbed, go through Ducky Hood, go all through Lime and come back. No problem, never a problem.
So here go a big question to both of you guys. So with everything you seen, when guys was this and they turned this and this and that and this, is the DP justifiable when a guy was this and he became
Not back then. Not back there.
Not back then.
Not back there.
Yeah.
Because it was a term of endearment, basically.
Yeah.
Because you stayed with the people you were with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Later on you can see it, but not
now. What we didn't tolerate at all was set tripping. I mean, set hopping.
No.
Not set hopping. Well, set tripping either, because we didn't set trip at all. You know.
As a matter of fact, I've seen people catch hell behind that in 48.
I remember Lil Monk.
Behind that same shit you talking about.
They used to be on the boulevard. It was hanging out. What was the one that got killed that had the glass house?
Who?
The little Pyru dudes.
Oh, you talking about Troy?
No,
he had the Mustang.
He had the black glass house. I think he used to go with Bun.
Commodore.
Now.
His brother Duke got killed.
Yeah.
Commodore's still living.
Commodore.
Commodore's still
I
living.
remember they went to Whaley with.
Yeah,
Right,
Commodore.
right.
Duke got killed. Commodore's still living.
Right. And we knew these dudes. Like I said, when we went on the boulevard, they were already over there.
Yeah.
You know? So, when you see these cats, or like when you see Monk, and it's crazy how he just hopped. Because on the boulevard, he'd be, this Crip or whatever. Then you get over there by the park, he this Pyru, he's like, hold up. So there was consequences for that. That's DP.
Yeah.
That's DP. And we call them just marks and busters. And I think both sides got them. Because you know what I'm saying, you was like a mo, but then you had homies like Slep Rock, my homeboy Slep Rock. that lived on, what they lived on, Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He
his
ran
brother
with
still
Platt.
stayed.
Yeah.
He ran with Platt.
Right.
And
he
Benny
turned Crip.
Roseboro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember old Benny Roseboro. Boy, I ain't heard that name in a long time.
He came to the hood to this day. You know what I'm saying? And he got initiated and started becoming from the hood. And
Wow.
that was it, you know. But he never wavered back, though. You know what I'm saying? So maybe now, like when you get DP, and like I said, the rules are so different now.
Yeah.
The set tripping is immense.
Yeah.
It's really kind of pathetic at this point. You know, because there's nothing positive coming out of it.
I'll give you a perfect example of how much it changed. And this is something that happened to me because of slip of the tongue. Well, when you did an interview with me, when I said something to the effect that the Boulevard did stuff at the behest of the hood, when I was supposed to say they did it each other at the behest of each other. They both did, and I caught a little grief. Now, here's the trip, show you just how tied up people are. Even though I'm damn near 60 years old, and dog got back at me behind it, I was devastated. Now I'm 60, but you're so
It
tied
made you
in.
feel bad to get it
Oh
wrong.
man, it's so I couldn't apologize enough to him, because that's not what I meant. I meant to say that they did it at the behest of each other, which is how they did. But it tore me up. But that lets you know how connected.
1 second, and this relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have to. You taught me when we was doing the Compton and Power.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Bugs, watch what you say."
Mm-hmm.
He said because it's either gonna make you or break you.
Yeah.
Because you can say some things, just like I got a lot of flack behind when I said that the South Side
Right.
was Peru before, but I said something the other day that just broke my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know it. I was talking about Robert Franklin.
Yeah.
And I said Robert Franklin got a pass. So I wasn't saying he got a pass because when anybody came from Whaley to Roosevelt,
Yeah.
at that time, we was pushing the Crip line at Roosevelt. The Penez family, the South had just turned almost Crip and stuff. So we was actually fighting these dudes because Robbie Butler got killed.
Yeah.
So that's when I started jumping. I jumped on Diamond that day.
Yeah.
It was a few of them.
Jeffrey Miller?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he gave me a tussle fluid too, boy. He had hands too.
Yeah, I used to like Diamond too.
We touched everything in the hallway. You know what I'm saying? But then, what I was trying to say is Robert Franklin got a pass because he wasn't a Pyru when he got to Roosevelt.
Right.
And he may have
Yeah,
took
he
it
was
as
on
a-
Spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He came a Crip. So that's why Robert Franklin came with us with open arms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we needed the manpower. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I was like,
And he was a beast.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sports and everything.
Man.
And it was because of him we kind of dominated, you know, because it was me, Maury Wooden, Robert Franklin, Donald McCaney, Cedric Baxter. Remember, we got into it with Red
Yeah.
from U.S.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Red before he turned Crip?
Before he turned Crip, we kind of helped him do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because
I kind of pushed him in the direction.
Melly, we was pushing the line.
Now,
homie.
I'll tell you, Red was with it too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
And like
Red
I said,
was with it.
they wasn't no punks.
No, they
Alan
wasn't.
Jeffco?
No.
Alan Jeffco,
Man,
them dudes.
man, they with it.
Yeah, they kept, I mean, the drop of a hat.
Yeah, they with it.
And they didn't need 4 or 5 cats. They come by themselves.
Sure was.
So to be mindful, we have to kind of watch what we say because, you know, some people, they don't get the whole other side of what
Yeah,
you mean.
yeah.
Or even in the
They
political
misconstrue it or they have selective
Right,
hearing.
Right.
right. Yeah,
I'm
or
gonna mention
or
something
mostly misconstrued.
misconstrued. Just
Mostly
like
misconstrued.
I was looking at my
When I
opinion.
say selective hearing, sometimes people in the chat,
Yeah.
they want it to be the way they think
Right.
Right.
versus the way it is.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you another dude that should have been mindful when he came on. He was in Gangster Chronicles with Mob James. Now he said he stopped banging, which I commend him for changing his life and moving on. You know, he got whatever it was. Him and Reggie, little Reggie. You know, they got the Death Row thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he had said something on the fact that they was asking who was the toughest Crips that they ever had to be with, and they were saying the Tanner. And he was like, he mentioned, like he said, the Tanner, this and but in hood wasn't a factor. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you can't say that
No,
if you're not
especially not in that
banging.
time.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about now,
Oh.
now. Even if you say it now, you have a lot of them little dudes just like, oh,
Yeah, you ain't
They
lying.
finna go prove you wrong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So that's set tripping.
Yeah.
That's set tripping. So I want to remind everybody, you got to remind you what you say,
Yeah.
because in Compton, what a lot of people don't know with the Crip car, even though you have beefs with the little ones, the old ones ain't beefing.
Yeah.
The old ones still get along. All the
Every
sets.
last one.
We all still get along. We
Sure
all
do.
kick it. You know what I'm saying? That's why we go back and can make some difference and make some changes to kind of hinder some of this stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, I tell everybody, like my brother told me, even in politics or whatever,
Yeah.
watch what you say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be mindful of what you say, because sometimes you can get construed as you banging that.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm gonna tell you, man, some of the best conversations I had as of lately is, and of course I have great conversations with you guys, but Willie Bridges, which is Ragtime from 8-9 Family, and also Red Eye Rick, which is from Fruit Town. They did, both of these guys did an enormous amount of time, but the brilliance that come from these brothers, you know, after they go in there and they educate themselves and
Right.
they get deep off into, you know, knowledge and information
Right.
and just as being informed
Right.
to where they can form opinions that where they intellectually respond versus emotionally react.
Yeah.
Right.
And that becomes, man,
Oh
you be
man,
like, man,
and if
great,
you
great.
can get people to just
back
follow
and
that
think.
model right there,
Yeah.
they go a long way.
Or instead of like getting on something, YouTube or something else, and then voicing it like call the person, talk to him like, man, what happened? What'd you say? And let them explain,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is what I meant. You
Yeah,
know, behind the
this-
scenes.
yeah,
like
exactly.
like on Clubhouse, we go into the chat room.
Exactly.
We go in the back, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This is not for the public, you know what I'm saying? Because you start a divide, and then I don't think, and like Kick and I, we're senior citizens. You know what I'm saying? You too, Melly. You know, I know we don't look
I'm
at
63.
Right.
I
Today.
know. Yeah, me 63 yesterday.
Right. I'll be
One day
62
older than me,
tomorrow.
Jake.
Right. So Melly the big homie then. You know?
Yeah, I guess. His ass didn't go in the back either.
Nobody went back there. Too.
Nobody went back there.
No,
Nobody
hell
Playing
no.
with that.
No.
I got caught up back there, man, in the wood shop. Willie T, Lil George, and all of them got me.
Man.
They toss you up?
No, I mean, shit, I'm broke. But Daddy taught me a good run be the bad stand any day.
Man,
There's a
look
bunch
at
of
here.
dead heroes.
It was too many of them.
Man.
I'm looking
You not tell me out there.
This is when y'all are solving it up. We had a dice game behind the gym. You know, Parade, Deets, all of that. The Harris Hustlers. The Harris Hustlers was back there.
Oh,
She was
Deets
back-
in there.
Yeah.
No.
Look up. We surrounded.
Man.
Hey, so
Man.
listen, but nobody told me don't go to the wood shop.
Right.
I didn't know not to sign up for wood shop.
I think the wood shop, the
Auto
bathroom,
mechanics.
yeah,
back there,
anywhere
too.
back there,
Anywhere
man.
back there.
Anywhere
The tennis
back there.
courts back going that way.
Only place we
Towards
was kind of
Compton.
safe was like behind the gym and under the bleachers.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it.
That was
That
it.
was it.
So man, get something to the kids going out, man.
Well, the kids is me. I would like to say, don't be so reactionary on negativity.
Right.
Get yourself out of the narrative that this gang thing is a lifestyle, it's a death style. Do better, learn how to get along with each other without name calling and doing harm and that. And I think we can move forward. I mean, once we start to the point and we got to do something. And it's just not the kids. I know we say that a lot, but some of these adults are still stuck.
Yeah.
And I tell you how indoctrinated it is. Because sometimes I still see, like I work this job at these apartments is doing air conditioning, all this maintenance stuff sometimes. And a young dude came out, he had a red rag on his head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked at him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, he just don't know.
Man,
You know what I'm saying?
I read.
But he like 13.
I-
and you know what I'm saying? So that indoctrination is deep. It's deep.
Very
So
deep.
Yeah,
not
'cause
just
you
the
catch
old-
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh man, you never, and that's another thing I tried to explain this in my job to people. Because of how we came through that, you, me, Bubs, even though we're 40, 30, 40 years out of that life, if somebody walks up to us and all red, there's still a tingle. Even though you ain't gonna say nothing about it, you ain't gonna do that, there's still a tingle.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
But yeah, man, just do something different. There's so many. It's so different now. You don't have to do it anymore. Pretty much when we was coming up, you had to pick a side. You don't have to pick a side no more. You can do different things. Do something
Thank you.
different.
Man, I appreciate both of you guys, man. It's been amazing sitting here having this conversation. And I'm sure this video is going to do what it needs to do, man.
Right.
But once again, man, the Hood Post, man, you guys already know the vibe, man. So go ahead and lock the door.
Lock the door.
Lock the door, Tick.
Lock it up.
There it is there. We gone.